I think my Felicity may be just a little bit wobbly. What do you think? What is up, you guys? It's Illuminux, aka Eric, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So you can tell from the intro as well as the title that today we are finally unboxing my Felicity doll that I've hinted toward because, as you may know, part of my collection goals is collecting the first 6 Pleasant Company dolls. So she did come in this box. I got her from Mercari, but this is not a typical doll box. I believe this was used back then for bigger furniture sets. I'm not sure exactly which one it was, but it does say KB. Does that mean Kirsten's bed? Or I don't know if I'm being crazy, but let's see what's inside. She wasn't really like packaged up within here, but here she is. So here is her face up close. It does look a little bit derpy, and that's kind of why I wanted her. I noticed she doesn't necessarily have those electric Felicity green eyes, so I'm not sure what year she's from. She does have an older neck stamp as well. I'll make sure, maybe I can get her ID'd while I'm editing this video. But she does have this older neck stamp. I think that's an older one. But yeah, I don't know what year she's from, but she does have that soft, squishy vinyl. So she must be older. And yeah, I don't know, I thought she was super cute. And for a pretty good deal, I think I got her for like $60 on Mercari. She doesn't have a full meet, but she does have the shoes and the dress, which is like 2 of the major parts of it, so I'm okay with that. And I see the remnants of her pin curls, so I think I'll be able to salvage those. But yeah, I guess I forgot to mention, but today we're going to be showing you the process of how to restore an American Girl doll that you get secondhand, especially with my Pleasant Company dolls, except for Kirsten. I've really done restoration on all of them. I guess even my number 3 over here. So yeah, the rest of this video probably won't be filmed in this room. It'll be filmed in my kitchen, and I can just show you the process of what I do once I get a secondhand doll, how I clean them up, how I restring them, and also get their hair looking back to a better condition. So let's head over to my kitchen now. All right, guys, we are now in the kitchen with Felicity. Sorry about the audio and the camera quality in here. I'm not sure how it's gonna be, but I have my giant box of doll restoration stuff. I don't have like a nice caboodle or anything to put all my stuff in, but I will show you everything that I use as I'm using it. So the first step is you are gonna take off all of the doll clothes because we're first gonna take off all of her limbs from the cloth body. I don't feel the need to show the whole process, but here are her shoes coming off, and I'll show you her dress as well in case you wanna see it up close. Here are the shoes. They're in pretty good quality, condition, sorry. I don't know if things are gonna focus, but I can't be asked. Oh, her shoes were on backwards. And then here is the original meat dress, which I think is so much better than the purple one. It feels correct. And I feel like it's nice seeing all the Pleasant Company dolls together, kind of in the same color story of like the red, white, and blues. So the next step is gonna vary, I guess, on the severity of your doll's limbs. I guess if they're not that loose and you don't feel like restringing them, then you can keep them on and then just wait till whatever I say next. But in this case, I like to, even if they're not horrible, I mean, these ones are pretty bad, I do like to restring them just to know that, I don't know, they're more freshened up. So we do want to take off all of these limbs. If they're super loose, you'll be able to kind of just pull them out of their socket and maybe snip that from outside. But these ones aren't as horribly loose, so I will have to like take off her head, unstuff her, and then probably cut from the inside. So I will show you that. So in order to unstuff her and, you know, go from the inside out, I do need to take her head off, which requires untying this super tight knot. I figure you can't really do it with your fingers unless you're very skilled. So I have this pair of tweezers. These are like sticker tweezers for like if you're decorating things. They're super sharp, so be careful. I have hurt myself on them on accident before. And then I use these to kind of untie this knot, and I'll show you when she has her head off. Once you have those knots untied, you should just be able to pop their head off, which is kind of graphic, but now you have this. I'm gonna go ahead and unstuff her, and then I'll show you what she looks like from the inside and where we're gonna cut the string. There's always so much more stuffing than you think inside of there, but based on the stuffing inside, you can definitely tell this has recently been restuffed. And I can also tell from the inside, the actual caps themselves, like these crimped connectors look fairly new and the string doesn't look that old. So I think someone restrung her not too long ago. And I know there's a lot of tutorials if you want like an easier way to restring dolls. You could just take a hair tie and kind of pull this tight and then, you know, tie the hair tie around here. But I like to just fully replace the string so that I know that I have, I don't know, like done it my way. So that's the next step, is that I'm going to pull this. Sorry, it's not focusing very well, but pull this and then snip this until the limbs come off. So it's kind of hard to do standing up, but just be very careful. Once you cut that, then her arm will come off. I feel like the lighting's changing so much, so sorry if the lighting fluctuates a lot between clips, but make sure you keep these caps. They might go flying, but do not lose these caps. These are very important. And then, so here's the doll hand. I'm gonna continue to do that with the rest of the limbs now. I forgot to mention earlier, you can of course replace these strings with zip ties, or like completely replace them with other strings. So I'm probably gonna go back later because I have to do it to all my other dolls because I just got this. And this is called, I don't know, is it called macrame cord or something? It's for when you're making these like rope tapestry kind of situations. To replace these strings. I just want my dolls to look more cohesive, so I'm gonna end up doing that, but I won't do that in this video. Once you've cut off all of the limbs, you should have obviously the limbs, as well as these 4 caps that you will need. So again, do not lose them, these plastic caps, oops. They may also come as these, which is like another way to do it. I know for my Josefina, I didn't have those plastic caps, I had these things. Which they kind of work in the same situation. I guess I should be listing where I got everything from as I go, but these tweezers were probably from Amazon. This cord was also from Amazon, as a lot of this is gonna be from. The next thing we're gonna do is clean the doll limbs. So I got this 6-pack, sorry the box is crazy, of Mr. Clean Magic Erasers that I like to use to clean the doll's limbs and face. They obviously end up looking crazy. I use this one as a wet one and this one as a dry one. But yeah, this also from Amazon. I'm sorry, I really don't feel like being a crazy camera person and like moving everything around. But I will just explain the process of how I clean the limbs and not necessarily show you me doing everything. So the first thing I do is I take a wet magic eraser. So you make this damp, like don't let it be all dripping, and then put a towel underneath. And you know, just go around and lightly rub or aggressively rub the limbs. You don't really have anything to lose. Just don't get water in here just because, I don't know, it might get moldy or something. But yeah, I just go ahead and I use a damp magic eraser to clean it off. And then after that, I end up using a little bit of dish soap. I don't know, like don't quote me if I don't want to ruin any dolls, but I've used a little bit of dish soap and just kind of like rinse off the leg. And then rinse that off. And then after that, after I dry it, I use a dry magic eraser. And the point of the dry magic eraser is to mostly get rid of shine marks and also kind of get it back that like, I don't know, like dry feeling. Cause it's kind of like, you can tell it kind of feels like there's grime on it. But you know, just lightly rub the magic eraser on it and it'll kind of give it that new feeling. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do all of that and clean these limbs just as I explained. Oh yeah, after you use the dry magic eraser, you will have like, since it's basically like a fine grit sandpaper, you're gonna have some particles on the leg, so it'll feel kind of dusty. So I like to use a microfiber cloth like this to just like wipe that off. So after I clean the limbs, I will be back. So as I'm cleaning this first leg, I'm noticing, I already wiped one off, but there was kind of like this little white, it's hard to tell, it's still wet, but there's like a little white paint stain, and you might think like once you go over it, it's not gonna come off. But sometimes with magic eraser, the reason why this is destroyed is you really have to like go in there, like use your finger and push and make contact with the vinyl, and then it eventually will come off. So that one, I know you couldn't tell, but there was a white paint stain and it came right off. So yeah, so I'm just about done. I did the first 2 steps and now I just need to use the dry magic eraser. But I did want to mention that this Felicity is relatively clean. Honestly, she doesn't even really have any shine marks on her. I know some other of the dolls that I've restored, they do get like dye transfer from certain clothes, or they might have shine marks, but this one was pretty good. I know there's other tutorials out there if you have like really big stains to use that acne spot treatment and like leave it out in the sun and stuff, but this is not something I have to do with this Felicity doll, luckily. So yeah, I'm just gonna continue to clean these, and they all look pretty good, so. The limbs are all clean, and as you were cleaning them, you might have noticed that there's a little rattling noise inside. That's because these cups and like the string and the cap that you saw earlier, that crimp connection, that gold thing, there's another set that's inside of here. So you may be wondering, how do you get it out of here? Well, the vinyl needs to get softened. Even though this is the softer vinyl, you still can't get it out easily. You do need to soften this vinyl in order to be able to pry out the inside, because you're gonna have to make a knot inside there. I mean, I'll show you everything. But point being, there's multiple ways to soften this vinyl. I know some people use like a hairdryer on a low setting to heat this up, or like put it in a heating pad. I personally just boil water. And so I will show you that. I boil just a little pot of water, and then I'll set it to the side, like over here. You might see my puppy here, sorry. But I'll boil a pot of water, doesn't really matter how much. This will just need to be submerged at some point, so at least, you know, like get it that deep into the pot. So I put about this much water inside. Again, it's kind of arbitrary, and I'm gonna start boiling this. But just in our downtime, I'm gonna show you a little hack. I used to wait until the water was boiled and then take the parts out of the limbs and then start doing the restringing process. But I figured while you're waiting for the water to boil, you actually can start the restringing process with these caps that were already on the inside of the body, and you're basically just gonna do a swap. And I'll show you how it saves time. So obviously don't leave your boiling water unattended. It's just because obviously I'm watching it from here. But the next step you're gonna do is get your cord that you're actually gonna be using for the stringing process. I have this elastic cord. This is actually all I have left from my first set, but I did recently just get another pack from Amazon. I'll link everything probably in a pinned comment or something. But this is just some elastic cord. It was relatively cheap from Amazon. And you're just gonna wanna cut a few inches of this per limb. So you'll do 4 pieces. I always just do more than you need because I'd rather it not be too short. So, you know, like this much. And then I'll just, you know, roughly cut 4 pieces that are approximately the same length. It doesn't need to be perfect. You'll probably have excess that you'll just cut off anyway. Once you have your 4 roughly equal pieces, you're gonna want to have these crimp connector sleeves, these little gold things. Again, will be linked down below. I've already gone through so many of them, but I just bought a new pack as well. So you're gonna need 8 of those total, but just for now, you'll need 4. And what you're gonna do is take one and put it toward the edge of your string. And then you're gonna need some type of pliers. These are specifically wire strippers. And I like these a lot more. I was using regular pliers, but I was having to put a lot of force in. But this one's perfect because it actually has like an electrical crimp part in the bottom part of these. So I just go ahead and leave a little bit of room and put it right in that first notch. There's no real science to this. You just want this to be tightly on this string. Nothing is focusing. Okay, there you go. So you just squeeze it. You might need to put some force into it. But what you're gonna get is that gold piece is gonna be really crimped onto your string. These aren't, this is from lifting, by the way. This isn't like something gross on my hand. But yeah, it'll look like that. And so just repeat that process on all 4 strings. And once you do that, you're gonna take the cup in this orientation and you're gonna have it just like this, kind of like a little mushroom situation. So I have all 4 of my pieces done, and if this is like your first time doing it or you don't have that much experience, you obviously can just, you know, do this and then boil your water. But just because I'm used to doing this, I can do it pretty fast. So my water started boiling, and so I put it on a little, I forget what you call that, but set it off to the side and let it cool down a little bit. You don't want to be messing around with anything that's actually boiling. But we just want it as hot as we can get it. And yeah, let me show you why doing this ahead of time was helpful. So don't just stick these limbs directly in the boiling water. You don't actually want to ruin the vinyl. What I like to do is put each limb, you can put all of them at the same time. It's kind of hard to get the right angle though. So I do one at a time, and you're gonna put it in a Ziploc bag and submerge it into the boiling water or into the warm water for about, I don't know, it kind of depends. This is already softer vinyl. I bet in like 30 seconds of being in that pretty hot water, it'll be soft enough. And what we're gonna be doing is taking a pair of tweezers or pliers, or in this case, I'm gonna be using a pair of hemostats that I also got from Amazon that will be helpful again later, to go in there and take out the plastic cup. You can see the plastic cup and string are in there as well. So let me show you what it looks like to put this in the Ziploc bag as well as submerge it in the pot of water. Again, a lot of this process, if you're younger, definitely have parent supervision and do this as carefully as you can. And even if you're, older, just be very careful. So you're gonna basically put it in a Ziploc bag and maybe at sort of an angle, submerge this into the pot of water to get this as soft as we can get it so that we can pull out that plastic cap. You will need to be careful because if it's hot, the steam's gonna be coming up at your hand. So if you need to wear gloves or like mitts of some sort, or just wait for it to cool down a little bit more, do that. Yeah, so I'm just gonna basically submerge it in like that. And I'll show you how squishy this is once it has been submerged. So you can see it's kind of not that squishy, but relatively squishy. So obviously do not mimic what I'm doing right now, but you just kind of dunk the leg in like that, and try not to let it sit at the bottom of the pot because you don't want any melting happening. Not that I've ever had that happen, but make sure to hold it. I also don't put it on the rim of the pot just because I don't want, to get the upper or like the lower part of the leg burnt or damaged, the part that's not in the Ziploc bag itself. So let it hover. You can see a little bit of steam, so you could also wait a little bit longer. It really doesn't need to be super hot. But yeah, I'll show you what it looks like when it's softer. I'm super impatient, so I don't like to wait a long time, but as you can see, it's already it's so pliable now. So what you can do is take the hemostats. You might need to shake this a little bit to get that cap back down, and just grab the rim of that cap from inside, and then just, get it tight. Sorry, I'm not focusing again. And then you will be able to just pop this little cap off, and then you can see you kind of have exactly what you did on that one side over here. Just be careful because obviously this isn't like metal or anything, so this can deform a little bit, but that's okay. Just try not to crack it. And the reason why we pre-did these in advance is because now that this is still soft, rather than having to rewarm it again, you can just put it in now. So a tip is you need to put, sorry, my dog's barking. You need to put these in sideways. So put in this piece first, and then put it in sideways, and then angle it so you can kind of see it like that, and then it won't come out. And yeah, that's how you put the inside the leg. So just repeat that on all the limbs. Now that the limbs are all done, we are gonna put them back onto the body. So a big thing is you don't wanna waste your time accidentally putting the wrong limb in the wrong socket, so make sure you're checking that you have the front. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna take that string and you're just gonna fish it through. I like to do the 2 legs first and then stuff and then do the 2 arms, so that whatever's on the inside of the arms, when you're stuffing it down low, you're not getting your hand cut on it. I know that was happening to me before, so I started doing it this way. But anyway, you're gonna fish it through that little socket. So I'm doing this leg first. And then what you're gonna do is take the cap that you just got, put it all the way down there, and then take another one of those crimp connectors, and you're gonna slide it on in this orientation, just like that, right? And then you're gonna pull this as tight as you can, this cord, pull it as tight as you can, and then crimp this tight onto the cord. I found this to be easier if you have the leg in between your legs and you're kind of squeezing it between, but I can do it midair with just these pliers. So I put the crimping pliers on the connector itself, and then I pull as tight as I can, and then as it's as tight as it can be, I crimp it on. And then there you go. That is how you have a tight limb. It's as easy as that. And then what you can do is actually with this excess cord, like I told you, it could have been shorter, but I feel like it's easier to work with a longer piece than a shorter piece. You can just cut it off. If you don't trust your ability to keep the tension, you can also use the hemostats to kind of, you know, lock you in position, and then from there use your crimp pliers to pinch it. Sorry, I keep forgetting to not show my face so that it could focus. So this is kind of a mess, but you could use the hemostats to help you out. I don't do it anymore. But yeah, so I'm gonna do this on the other leg and then start stuffing. After both of your legs are on, you can start stuffing. And you know, it's pretty straightforward, but you do, especially around the, you know, the joints of the legs, you wanna really like push it in there and surround it so that it doesn't end up being loose even though you've tightened this. They can still end up being kind of a little bit wobbly. So you do wanna pack it in pretty tight around there. I use these like Uber Eats chopsticks to kind of, you know, force it around and kind of tailor it to how I want it. And yeah, and then once you get about here, like right beneath the arms, then you can attach the arms on and then continue stuffing. So I will be back after the whole body is stuffed. Now her body is stuffed and it feels pretty good. I like to kind of pull apart my stuffing so that it fills up the body more. And then, you know, if you want to leave some out, then that's okay as well. And I also wanted to mention that this is just my way of doing it. If you have other ways of, you know, restoring or restringing, you go ahead and do it that way. This is just how I do it. And yeah, so now we can put the head back on. Oops. So here's her head. And how I like to do it, because you do have to tighten the string on, is actually put their heads on backwards so that their hair is not in the way, especially when it looks like this. So you just have to squeeze their head kind of in, make sure stuffing isn't coming out the sides as you're doing it. And again, I'm probably gonna have to do this off camera. But you really wanna, I like to put this, you know, like between my legs and then do 3 tight knots to keep her head in place and then just turn it back. So I'll show you when that is all done. Okay, so I don't claim to be the best stuffer. I feel like stuffing their bodies is like the hardest part for me because sometimes their limbs end up being loose anyway. But I think I did a pretty good job. She's, yeah, pretty good. Like can hold a pose, and yeah, I'm really happy with how she turned out. And now we're going to do her hair before we put the outfit on. You know, this wig isn't as horrible as like my Josefina's, for example. So in that case, I did end up using like conditioner. So I won't be showing that process in this video, but I mean, you would just use warm water and conditioner and just try not to get it on the wig cap so the glue doesn't come off. You could also do like a hot water dunk where you know, just put, you know, dunk the hair in a few times. And I think that straightens out the hair and kind of makes it a little bit softer. In this case, I think I can get away with just using this steamer, which I got from, oh, it's uncoiling as we speak. I think I got this from Walmart. If I didn't get it from Amazon, I don't quite remember. But it's just a cheap steamer, and I will show you that process. But yeah, I think I'm gonna do steaming. And first I'm gonna put on this American Girl apron. So the first step I did, just because this is Felicity and she has pin curls, I figured that it might be easier if I taped down her pin curls. So I was able to find 4 of them and I just taped them down to her face just so that when I'm doing the rest of her hair, it doesn't get all, mixed in with it. But yeah, the next step I'm gonna do is steam this and, you know, bring this back to a nice straight thing because her meat hairstyle is just, you know, a white ribbon ponytail. So I'm gonna recreate that. But you also wanna protect the eyes because the eye paint can come off or like become silver in some cases. So I'm gonna put Band-Aids on her eyeballs so that the steam doesn't go in her eyes. So I'll do that and then I'll show you me steaming her. I went ahead and put some water in the steamer and then turned it on. So we're gonna wait for that to start up. But what I'm gonna do is just take the doll, again, sorry, because of my dog, and I put it relatively close, and then, you know, just kind of like brush it down. It does get hot, so be very careful with the steamer. And I like to use the American Girl brush to just brush through her hair and make sure to go from the bottom and then go up, just so you don't start pulling out too many hairs. Sorry if you can hear my dog whining in the background, but you just take the steamer and, you know, like let it, you know, go up against this. The hair is just plastic anyway, so You don't want to get too close because you don't want to ruin it. And again, I'm no professional, so don't take me too seriously. Just use it at your own discretion. And whenever you feel it's time to start brushing through it, if it's moist enough, you'll see the flyaways start to kind of go down, and then you can start brushing. As you can see, even with just some heat and some brushing, this wig basically looks perfect. You see that? Like compared to this part, this is super soft and smooth now. The ends are always the hardest part. But yeah, you just keep continuing to do this process of steaming and brushing, and I will show you when I'm all through with the back of her hair. So I'm not done yet, but you can already see, like, look how perfect her hair is already starting to look. It's super shiny and soft now. Obviously it's still a little bit damp, but like versus, this side, it's still like so dry and frizzy. Like, this is very nice. So I use the Pleasant Company brush. I don't know why it always breaks when I'm brushing it. But I also like using this wet brush as a plastic bristles, and then like kind of a more, I don't know, like the finer bristles. And then, yeah, it just looks so good. I'm gonna finish up. And then for the pin curls, I'm thinking, you see how wet her face is. So that's why you need to put stuff to cover their eyes. But I'm probably gonna end up just unleashing these and steaming them a bit to get them straight, and then wrapping them around a chopstick just to get that that pin curl, and then see how that looks after. And I'll show you when it's all done. Sorry, I'm not showing like footage of me actually doing it. It's kind of hard in this angle, and again, I don't really want to move my camera around everywhere, so stay tuned for the final look. So as you can tell, it's quite a bit later, but I finally finished doing Felicity's hair and putting her back in her meet outfit. Unfortunately, her pin curls are so hard to work with because I can't really put heat on it without like burning my fingers. I'm gonna have to work on that like at another point, but here she is all done up. I feel like this curl is good, but like these two are really hard to work with, and then that one's kind of curling. But as you can see, here she is. She looks great, and here's her hair from the back. I don't know if it was ever cut, but it kind of looks like this. It's obviously not gonna be perfect, but I put a little white bow in as well, and yeah. This is how I typically would clean up a vintage doll. And I think she looks great for me. I don't care for them to look super pristine. I just want them to, be cleaned up, and they're basically just gonna sit on the shelf, especially these Pleasant Company ones. I don't really wanna take them out of their meet outfits. So she's gonna sit like this, and I think she looks really cute. So if you have any tips on how to actually do her pin curls correctly, I've just been using water and trying to spin it around the chopstick, but it's really difficult. So if you have any tips, let me know. And thanks again so much for watching my video. I'm thinking I might try to post another video tomorrow because I did end up buying a doll out of nowhere. What do you call it? Like a spontaneous doll. So maybe I'll do an unboxing tomorrow. We'll just have to see. Okay, bye guys.